Did you know that in 1931, a scientist received the Nobel Prize for discovering the primary cause of cancer? It was this man, Otto Heinrich Warburg, 1883–1970. Nobel Prize 1931 for his thesis The Primary Cause and Prevention of Cancer. According to the scientist, cancer is the result of the antiphysiological food and lifestyle. Antiphysiological. Why? Because eating antiphysiological, acidifying foods-based diet and sedentary lifestyle creates an environment in our body acidity. The acidity in turn expels oxygen from the cells. He said, "The lack of oxygen and acidosis are two sides of the same coin. When you have one, you have the other. The acidic substances reject oxygen, whereas alkaline substances attract oxygen. In an acidic environment, yes is an environment without oxygen." And stated that, deprive a cell 35% of its oxygen for 48 hours can become cancerous. According to Warburg, all normal cells have an absolute requirement for oxygen, but cancer cells can live without oxygen, a rule without exception. And also, the tissues cancerous are tissues acids, whereas healthy tissues are alkaline. In his book The Metabolism of Tumors, Warburg demonstrated that all forms of cancer are characterized by two basic conditions, acidosis and hypoxia, oxygen deprivation. He also discovered that cancer cells are anaerobic, do not breathe oxygen, and cannot survive in the presence of high levels of oxygen. In contrast, the glucose survive, as long as the environment is free of oxygen. Therefore, the cancer would be nothing more than a defense mechanism that have certain cells of the body to stay alive in acid environment and devoid of oxygen. In summary, healthy cells live in an alkaline environment and oxygen, which allows normal operation. Cancer cells live in an extremely acidic and devoid of oxygen. Before continuing, once finalized the process of digestion, food according to the quality of protein, carbohydrates, fats, minerals, and vitamins that provide, creates a condition of acidity or alkalinity of the body. The result acidifying or alkalizing is measured by a scale called pH, whose values are in the range of 0 to 14, being pH 7 neutral pH. It is important to know how health affects acid and alkaline foods, as for cells to function properly and appropriately, the pH must be slightly alkaline. In the healthy person, the blood pH is between 7.40 and 7.45. Note that if the blood pH to fall below 7, go into a coma near death. So what have we to do with this? Analyzing the average feeding. Foods that acidify the body, food that is worse. Refined sugar and all products, worst of all, no protein or fat, has no minerals or vitamins, only refined carbohydrates that stress the pancreas. Its pH is 2.1, which is highly acidifying. Meat, all. Cow's milk and all its derivatives. Refined salt. Refined flour and all its derivatives, pasta, cookies, etc. Bakery products, mostly saturated fat, margarine. Caffeine, alcohol, snuff, Medicines. Any food cooking removes oxygen and converted into acid, including cooked vegetables. All that contain preservatives, colorings, flavorings, stabilizers, etc. In short, all packaged foods. Blood is constantly self-regulated, not falling into metabolic acidosis, thus guaranteeing the proper functioning of cells, optimizing metabolism. The body should be obtained from food bases, minerals, to neutralize the acidity of the blood of the metabolism, but all foods already mentioned contribute very little, and in return demineralize the body, especially refined. Keep in mind that the modern lifestyle, these foods are consumed 5 times a day, 365 days a year. Interestingly, all these foods named are antiphysiological. Our body is not designed to digest all that crap.
Maravillas modernas. Los secretos de la comida basura. Freidoras de miles de kilos de patatas a la hora. Máquinas que envuelven piruletas a gran velocidad. Plantas que producen millones de litros de helado al año. La industria de la comida basura cree en la productividad y la velocidad. Y no muestra signos de debilitamiento.
Las máquinas son muy rápidas, pero no sé si podrán serlo más. Quizá dentro de 4 o 5 años podamos diseñar máquinas aún más veloces.
Se necesitan máquinas más rápidas para atender la demanda.
Hace 50 años el tentempié no era el producto de coger y llevar que es hoy. Ahora están en todas partes y en todas las formas inimaginables. Están en el bolsillo, en la tartera, en la chaqueta o donde quiera que uno esté.
La productividad ha dado sus beneficios.
Alkalizing foods, that is, we do well. All raw vegetables, some are acidic, but reaction in the body are alkalizing, others are slightly acidifying, but bringing with them the necessary foundation for proper balance, and raw provide oxygen, cooked, no. Fruits, like vegetables, but for example the lemon has a pH of about 2.2, but within the organism, is highly alkalizing effect, perhaps the most powerful of all. The fruit provides healthy amounts of oxygen. Seeds, apart from all its benefits, are highly alkalizing such as almonds. Grains, the single grain is millet alkalizing, all others are slightly acidifying but very healthy. All should be eaten cooked. Honey is highly alkalizing. The chlorophyll in plants, any plant, is highly alkalizing, especially the aloe vera. Water is important for the supply of oxygen. Chronic dehydration is the main stress of the body and the root of most degenerative diseases, says Dr. Batmanglaj Bidun. Exercise oxygenates your entire body, he wears a sedentary lifestyle. Dr. George W. Cryle, of Cleveland, one of the world's leading surgeons who openly declares, all natural misnamed deaths are only the end point of a saturated acids in the body. Contrary to this, is completely impossible that a cancer grow on a person to release his body from the acidity, nourishing food that produce alkaline metabolic reactions, and increasing the consumption of pure water, and that, in turn, avoid foods that cause this acidity, and take care of the toxic elements. In general, cancer is not contagious or inherited. What is inherited are the eating habits and living environment that produce it. Mencken wrote, the struggle of life is against the retention of acid. The aging, lack of energy, temper, and headaches, heart disease, allergies, eczema, hives, asthma, arteriosclerosis calculations and are not, that the accumulation of acids. described Theodore Baradi says in his book Alkalize or Die. He said, "It does not matter the countless names of illnesses. What matters is that they all come from the same root cause, a lot of waste acids in the body." Dr. Robert O. Young says, the excessive acidification in the body is the cause of all degenerative diseases. When the balance is broken, and the body starts to produce and store more acidic and toxic waste it can handle, then manifest various ailments.
Incredible. It's an experiment. What I have here is my light meter, and what I'd like to demonstrate is the importance of salt and how we need to include more salt in our diet, and how significant sugar destroys the energies of our bodies, and how we need to eliminate sugar out of our diet. So I'd like to start out by taking some water here. This is spring water, and I've got my probe. I'm going to go ahead and put the probe into the water to see if we've got any electrons or electroconductivity. Now, let me just explain something here. This, I think, very, very important. And that is, our bodies do not run on calories. They do not run on carbohydrates or proteins or fats. Our body runs on electricity. It runs on electrons. And so when we eat food for its electrical potential or its electron concentration. So if I have a food or a drink that I'm testing, because of my research and what I've been studying for the last 30 years, is how what we drink and what we eat affects the internal environment of our bodies. And is it going to energize the body or enervate the body? So here we have some water that we're testing that has no apparent electrical concentration in the form of electrons. Now, I know you all know about this, because when you go out and buy batteries, what kind of batteries do you buy? You buy the alkaline batteries. And what that really refers to is alkaline because of its electrical potential. So when batteries are energized, it's in relationship to their electron concentration. Okay? And when batteries go dead, they've lost their electrical potential. So what we have here is basically an electron deficient or an acid water that is going to give no energy or life force to the body. So what I'd like to then show you is what we can do to energize that body is by taking some simple salts such as sodium, potassium, or magnesium and calcium, and then add that salt to the water. And of course, when we add that salt to the water, we increase the electrical potential of the water and its electrical conductivity, which lights up my light meter. Okay, let's go ahead and pour another little glass of water here. Okay, we'll go back then to the water here. Let's try the same thing with some cane sugar. Now, this is supposed to be natural cane sugar. Of course, you can see it's been processed. That's why it's white. It's bleached. We'll go ahead and put some cane sugar into the water. And this mineral water with cane sugar does not energize the water. And of course, we can see that for the fact that it didn't light up our light meter. Let's go back to our salt water again, and there we are. Let's go ahead and take a third one, all right? This third one is using a mineral salt, a natural mineral salt, unprocessed, from the north shore of the Great Salt Lake. Now, there are differences between salt. Most salt that's on the market has been processed. It's been demineralized. Now, this product here, which is a liquid salt, has not been demineralized. So it's a whole salt which contains over 72 natural minerals. We'll go ahead and put the probe, the light probe, into the water. As we can see, it did not light up our meter. So we're going to go ahead and spray a little bit of this mineral salt, which increases electrical conductivity in electrons. Therefore, we have our light once again. Let's go back then to our saltwater solution of magnesium, calcium, potassium, and sodium. And let's go ahead and then add some sugar. Now, the example here is I'd like you to think of this glass as your body, okay, energized, full of life. When you then incorporate sugar into the diet, and it comes in a lot of different forms, as you already know, when we put sugar into the body, we don't energize the body, but we literally destroy It's life force. And this is what's happening here. So the more sugar we eat, the less energy we will have. And in fact, what the body has to do, it has to respond to this sugar. And the reason why is because it's acidic. And the way it responds is by releasing stored energies to neutralize the sugar. And that's why we feel energy when we eat sugar, not because sugar is putting energy into our body, but it's actually poisoning our body, and our bodies are then reacting to that sugar by releasing electrons or electrical potential to neutralize the sugar or the acid. In summary, let's take the probe of our light meter, put it into the salt. As we can see, we've got energy. If we take the probe and put it into the sugar water, we have no energy. Why? Because the body does not run on sugar. The body runs on salt. That's why all of the fluids of our body are salted. Our tears, our saliva, our urine, our blood, our sweat are all salty solutions. And we need salt. In fact, we should be eating approximately 12 to 14 grams of salt, and that's if you are approximately 70 kilos or 154 pounds. We need to avoid sugar. So the question should come up, you know, not should we limit our salt, but we should limit or eliminate the sugars in our diet and increase the salt, which will then bring life and light and energy and vitality to our bodies. Isn't that what we're looking for? I think so. And so I would encourage you all to consider what I'm showing you here today and think about salt and alkalinity, and that our bodies run on electrons, okay? Not calories, not carbohydrates, not proteins, not fats, but the electrical energy or the electrons from that food. And when we can put more electron-rich green foods and green drinks into our diet, this is when we literally energize our bodies, and we become healthier, we become more fit, and this is what I have found in my cellular research. So I share this with you so that you can then apply these principles to help energize and revitalize your body.
What about chemotherapy? I will not go into details, but I'll just point out the obvious. Chemotherapy acidifies the body to such an extent that it must draw on reserves immediately alkaline to neutralize such acidity, sacrificing mineral bases, calcium, magnesium, potassium, deposited in bones, teeth, nails, joints, nails, and hair. That is why such degradation is observed in people receiving this treatment. Among many other things, they drop at high-speed hair. For the body does not mean anything running out of hair, but an acidic pH would mean death. Necessary to mention that this was not disclosed, because the cancer industry and chemotherapy are one of the businesses more billionaires than exist today. What to say, the pharmaceutical and food industry are the same entity. Do you realize what this means? How many of us have heard the news from someone who has cancer and someone always says, "And if you can touch anyone." Anyone? Ignorance justifies knowledge, conviction. Let the food be thy medicine be food. Hippocrates,